Well, last time I did it also, but didn't talk about about that. That I record the video 4 times, but I still put the first time that I recorded in the internet because I think you can do it. You can say all the stuff that I say. You can say it in less time and more clearly. So I want to talk about this video will be about studying, and I think I have realized that you study a lot of things, and maybe you even go out the race of what you want to study and how do you study. So in the first place, I want to remember that I study English, and I'm trying to get to level 24 in TOEFL or 30. That would be like advanced level. Right now, I'm upper intermediate, and I think I need to get to that level so I can continue with searching a job in the teacher profession. So how I'm studying English right now. I have in number one, I have a tutor. I'm getting 2 hours a week of class, and I'm getting corrected, and I'm getting some exercise, and I have to speak a lot in that class. The other stuff that I'm doing, I'm reading two books. I read out loud. I forgot to say that the first time that I record this video. I read out loud because reading in English is something that I have been doing a lot. That would be a good advice that I could give anyone right now. Reading in English is good, but maybe you will have to read out loud. I realize with my cousins, with my nephews, would be that you have the speed that you read and that you understand is different when you are trying to talk, and you read out loud you realize that there are some words that you really don't know how to pronounce, and also you have to you will need to articulate better even if you understand a lot uh, of the stuff that you read. So right now I'm reading this mastery book from Robert Greene, and also I'm reading Historia de Horror, that is this Clásicos Bilingües is told. This book is interesting because it has the translation. It's each page it has the two languages, one side English, one side Spanish. So that helps a lot. I think I think it's most basic, but there's some words that you when they're together in English they mean different things. So it's interesting this translation because you are also interpreting it. So I think that's very interesting stuff to do it this way. Okay, but also I'm watching The Office, English no subtitles, because I realized that the problem that I have, one of the problems that I have is that I watch a lot of English language shows, but with subtitles, and I think what I do is that I only read faster. So I'm not quite sure if it's doing me any good. So subtitles go away. Right now I went away. So right now I'm just watching without subtitles, and sometimes I really just don't understand what they are talking about, or some stuff, or some jokes. Jokes are the most difficult stuff to understand in a show when uh, you don't use subtitles. Because sometimes in the subtitles they even explain the jokes. Okay, so let me see what other stuff that I'm doing to learn English. I think Duolingo. I'm getting I'm trying to get better with Duolingo, and also I want to go to. I am about around lesson 35, and I think I should be around lesson 50 because I think that I am in the intermediate level in the Duolingo lessons, and I need to go to the advanced levels faster or fast or fast. I need to go to the advanced lessons quickly so I can uh, push the limits of how I can speak right now, because the big issue that I have is my English is very limited, and uh, I cannot use too much. The easiest way that I understand this is that when somebody hears you talk, or how do they evaluate how you talk, you will need to use some words that has to be a C1 level at least. So the percentage of words that you use at C1 level, it's important to your grade. For example, that's one of the other issue that I'm doing. I'm using ChatGPT with the voice recognition stuff to give me some words at C1 level each day. I try to do at least five with examples. For example, I have pragmatical, pragmatism, for example. Um, I don't know. I don't remember the other words, but there are some. They are not difficult words, but they are. It's is some. There are words that you don't use too much. Like for example, uh, I don't know. Like when you perceive. No, I'm not sure if that was a word. Procrastinate. That's an important word. Um, pervasive was one word. Pervasive is that it's in everywhere. It's everywhere now. Um, Woof. If you cannot remember the words, it means that you are not learning too much. I think I may have to write them, maybe even with examples, so I don't forget what does it means. I probably will do that. So I also want to talk about the stuff that you study that you cannot that it for example, I realized that I study stuff from my hobby or for my hobbies. Like I'm learning to draw, so I'm studying drawing, and I do it with a YouTuber that is called Linares. He talked about the perfect routine, and it was interesting because he says the first thing that you have to know is that you will need at least 3 hours a day if you want to get somewhere in drawing. So that is above, for me, that is above hobby level, but it's interesting that if you really want to learn, you have to at least do that each day. And I realize that that's the issue, that you always are a beginning in this stuff, because you always keep like doing um, a little of everything. Right now, I want to focus only on the English practice, but it's interesting that if you if you want to get better at something, you need to practice more, practice a lot. And when I watch a video that talk about it's guided practice is the important stuff. So you have to practice and then review your errors or your areas that you need to improve, improvement areas, and you have to focus your studies on that. So he talks about 3 hours, and he divided in the first hour is the basics. The second hour it will be like an important study. In the case of drawing, you study an object or the thing that you want to draw. And study means drawing it from different sides. So it's interesting because that's how you you understand how an object, when you see an object, how this object uh, can be represented from a side that you don't see. If that makes any sense. And the third hour will be like free practice. And the important stuff that he talked about free practice was that you don't have to keep what you do at your free practice, so you only forget about it. You only using what you learn, what you put in your brain in that session, and then forget it. That would be like the 3 hours that you will practice. So I found it very very interesting.